Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to a brand new Division video. What I guess today are the top 3 best PvE gear sets in patch 1.6. I know there's a ton of videos out there on YouTube right now talking about the best PvP gear sets, the best last stand gear sets and stuff like that. But there's not really a lot of videos talking about PvE, especially if you are trying to do those legendary missions, or especially if you are trying to farm, those incursions on heroic difficulty or anything like that. Some of these builds are a little bit weak, I would say, for, missions like that. Because as you guys know, in PvE, you definitely want to have a little bit more health, you definitely want to have a little bit more stamina whenever you're doing those missions. So today I'm going to go over some of the gear sets you guys can use and some of the gear sets I've been using and testing out for PvE, and I really enjoy them. Now the 3 gear sets I did pick are personal preference, and this is on Xbox. It might be a little bit different for you, and you might have a different opinion on some of these gear sets, but for me, these gear sets are very good. And they pretty much help me survive in those legendary missions or heroic incursions. So if you guys do enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more videos, and let's get right into this. Coming up first, we have one of my favorite PvE builds in patch 1.6. Now, I've been using this build for about 2-3 weeks and I really enjoy it. I know there's some people that have been using this forever. I just really never been that person to kind of use this specific build. So what I'm talking about is Deadeye. 4 pieces of Deadeye, a specialized backpack, and a Barrett's chest piece. Now this build I put together, like I said, 2 weeks ago, and I've been really enjoying it for PvE. For PvP, don't get me wrong, it's good. Deadeye is always something you can use in Last Stand or even the Dark Zone. But for PvE, I never really used it. I always used either a submachine gun or a assault rifle, and just always ran striker or high end or whatever. But if you are more of a person that just kind of likes supporting your team from a distance and don't really like being up close with NPCs or whatever, and especially if you're doing those legendary missions, you guys know you can get 3-4 shotted really quickly. And if you just want to play in cover and just do a ton of damage to the NPCs, Deadeye is always a great gear set. Anyone can put a nice build together. The only thing I would recommend is focusing a lot on your headshot damage on your weapon mods. So for your scope and your muzzle brake or anything like that, make sure you have headshot damage so you do way more damage towards the NPCs. Because you guys know in PvE the NPCs really don't move that much, so it's way easier to get headshots. Instead, if you're playing like Last Stand or the Dark Zone, where everyone just strafes and moves a lot, so you definitely want to focus on headshot damage for your Deadeye build. Coming up next, we have a build I've been using for pretty much ever since the game kind of came out, and that is 4 pieces of Striker. Now 4 pieces of Striker is really good for no matter what you're playing, especially in PvE. As you guys know, like I said, NPCs don't really move that much. So it's so much easier to stack your shots and pretty much do a ton of more damage. The one thing I would recommend is use a SASG to stack your bullets. Not only stack your bullets, but you can kind of use it as a primary. If you have decent talents on your shotgun, you're going to be 2-3 shotting the NPCs when you are even at 80% stacks. Even if you go up to 100, you're going to be 2-shotting bosses and pretty much anything in your sight. And yes, if you guys are asking, can you use this build for PvP? Yes, you can. I made a ton of videos pretty much talking about how Striker is really good. The one thing is, if you guys are on consoles, it might be a little bit difficult to stack your shots in PvP. If you're on PC, you're perfectly fine because, like I said, it is a little bit easier to aim on PC. But for PvE, Striker, like 4 pieces of Striker, 2 pieces of Nomad, or even a specialized backpack and something like a Barrett's chest piece is a really nice build, because not only can you focus on your toughness and your health, but you can also do a ton of damage thanks to the stacks that you get with Striker. The final gear set I would recommend using for PvE 100%, and especially if you're doing heroic incursions, if you're trying to farm for those exotic caches or anything like that, is use the defense or the D3 gear set. Now this gear set is really good, especially if you are one of those players that tend to die a lot. I don't know why, whenever I go in PvE, I kind of die a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I just run out there and I die a lot. But whenever you use the D3 gear set, you pretty much have that shield, and if you spec into critical hit chance and critical hit damage, you're going to be melting NPCs really quickly, because you obviously get the weapon damage bonus from having the shield out, and then you're also protected. And your shield, if you use, I forgot really the name of it, but if you use a specific shield, you get like 3 million health on that shield, so it's really hard to be taken down. And like I said, especially if you're doing the heroic incursions, this is really clutch. Also, what's really nice about using the D3 gear set for PvE is you don't really have to focus a ton on stamina and your toughness. You can even focus more on skill power or firearms. Since you do have that shield out, it's going to protect you for a really long time, and even if it gets destroyed, you can kind of sit in cover and just wait for your shield to come back. But like I said, you can spec a little bit more into skill power, maybe use like skill power and firearms mod or skill power and stamina mods on your gear, and your heals are going to be so much better. And even if you don't want to use first aid, if you put something like pulse and obviously the shield as one of your other slots, you can most definitely use a tenacious mask, and pretty much, whenever you're weak, you just pop a medkit and your damage is going to be increased. Although I don't really recommend using this build without first aid and just pretty much, using pulse on it. I do recommend using first aid and obviously the shield, but like I said, I've seen some people just use pulse and the shield and have some really great success with it. But like I said, those are my top 3 best PvE gear sets in patch 1.6. I've been using them for a little bit now. I really enjoy them. I do understand like some other gear sets are also really good, but like I said, if you guys haven't tried out like the defense gear set or even Deadeye for PvE, it's really strong and it's really good. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.